got a chance to see the new Prime movie, Dominique. Let's talk about it right now. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you so much for spending time with me as we rant about movies, comic books, and television shows, as well as the occasional board game. I am your host, Frank Zanka. I'm an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer, as well as a filmmaker. And yeah, we're going to talk about Dominique, but before we do, remember to give me a like, give me a thumbs up if you can. And on top of that, if you can subscribe. I am trying to grow the channel out. And if you're waiting for me to talk about Green Hornet, I'm not going to be talking about it because we completed the campaign tonight, and we did get fully funded. In fact, even in the last few moments, we did unlock the final stretch goal, which was a second story by Timothy Zahn. Good stuff. So yeah, thank you everybody if you jumped in there and helped support that book. We're very thankful for that. All right, so let's talk about Dominique. So Dominique is a low-budget film, action movie about it says in the description that she's a trained assassin, but we don't ever get to see that in the movie. We get to see a little bit of her past, where she's getting, hunted down and somehow escapes, and she ends up getting in a plane to go to Colombia, or she gets shot down in Colombia. But that's the very beginning of the film. Is that she's already crashed, and these guys from, I guess, the Colombian drug cartel wheel up into the plane and start to try to steal stuff, but it doesn't go down well for them. Now, this is starring Oksana Orlan. She's only done. She has some credits from TV credits. One episode here, one episode there, and then she has like some decent, bigger name movies, but she's completely uncredited. Where she's playing the trophy wife or whatever, where she probably doesn't have any lines at all. I gotta say that I was worried about her acting, especially in a low budget film, but I think she pulled it off. I think she did a decent job. I was pretty hooked after a little bit. And this is directed, so it's written by her and the director. His name is Michael Ojeda. It's with the O-J-E-D-A. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly. But anyway, so according to what I found out, this movie cost $800,000 to do. I find that hard to believe. I think it was probably more around the 1.5, and even that's cheap, because I even found out that they actually did the plane shots in L.A., not actually in the city, of course, but right outside of L.A., and they did drone shots for that. And the reason I know all that is because the guy who did the drone stuff for Michael, is a friend of mine that I worked with on Six Gun. He DP'd one of the pieces of Six Gun, because I had like 3 different DPs on that thing. And so I just called him up and asked him some questions. He's going to hook me up with Michael. But anyway, that's how I found out all this stuff, is that he told me. But anyway, so I find it hard to believe that the reporting is $800,000. He said it was cheap. But I know that Columbia had, because I rushed the end of the credits, and it did go through the rebate system there. So the rebate there was probably 30 to 35%, plus he probably got a lot of those stunt guys and actors and everything else there pretty cheap. And so maybe you have to add 30%. Maybe it's like maybe it was a 1.5 and it ended up at 800. That's the only thing I can think of. Because for them to actually do this with the amount of gunplay in this, so it's basically almost like a John Wick female. But again, we really don't see the training of her. We don't get to see her actually killing anyone outside of her trying to escape in this flashback. So I really don't know what her background is at all. And I think that's a little bit detrimental for the film. but it's really not much because you're not there for that. You're not really there for her past. You're there knowing that she has really no future. She's on the run. We know all that. That's really all you need to know. And that, she gets shot down, and now she's trying to, I guess, get out of there. He's trying to get out of Colombia, but she has nothing besides some money. That's all she's got. So she has no contacts there. She has no friends, no family there, whatever. And she immediately goes to a bar and she hooks up with a guy. Pretty fast. I mean, whatever. And but the guy ends up being a cop, and she gets introduced to his family. Her, not that he's married, but his sister who's pregnant, and all of her kids. She's got a bunch of them. But I guess she's a widower. Well, just a widow. I guess just a widow. A widower would be a male. And so she gets attached to the family, and the brother cop ends up getting himself into a little bit of trouble, and then she has to protect the family. So it's a little bit like, Magnificent Seven kind of thing, except that she's a one-man person because, in theirs they're training the villagers to be able to fight, and then they're leading this against the oncoming army. So it's kind of like that, but on a very, very smaller scale, where it's basically her taking on this entire force. But I was in it. The ending kind of, I'm not going to tell you the ending, but the ending kind of threw me, and I was pretty surprised, and I'm sure you will be as well. But I thought that overall the acting was very good. I thought the character work was pretty good, and I got to know everybody enough to know what the stakes were and to feel the stakes. And then on top of that, the bad guys are despicable. And I thought overall the directing was very good. Now, it does feel like a low-budget film. So if that bothers you, then, you may not like it as much as I did. If, but watching a movie feels like a television show. So, because it does. It feels like a television show at times. And if that bothers you, then this might not be the film for you. But if you're okay with lower budget films, and especially action, I thought most of the action is done pretty well. Some of the fight scenes are done pretty well. They have knife fights. We have gun fights. The gunfire was pretty decent. We have a couple of vehicle play on top of that. And, she's playing the very stoic hero, right? Where we don't get to know much about her, and she doesn't say much, and the people that are helping her, she's kind of a bitch to, but whatever. But I think that was kind of needed so that we can see her developing where she gets to be affectionate towards this family, where it's somebody it's people that she could fight for. The overall plot was expected. It's not much surprises in the plot. It's a very generic plot, all the way up till the end, because the end does take things on a different turn. But it's the traditional action film that you would expect up till the end. So I really liked it for what it is. So it's not going to win any awards or anything to that effect, but for what it is, for like a John Wick type of film, I liked it, and it's not, again, even Ballerina, which is a John Wick film, is probably going to take the action to like the 10th level, where this is just the traditional level, and she has some good ideas that she uses. Of course, the bad guys are not that bright, which allows her to get over on them. But it is the girl boss type of thing, because we don't see any of the training. She doesn't really earn it or anything to that effect. As we don't see the growth into the killer. She's just already the killer. So, yeah. But I do recommend the film if you don't mind, low budget filmmaking. So yeah, I would definitely suggest that, watching it, because I always tell you to support low budget film no matter what anyway, unless it's really bad. That's something different. But this is put out by Lionsgate, and it was done actually in 2023. So it is over a year old, even though it shows 2024 as the distribution date, which means they probably got it done by the end of the year and didn't get it distributed till the following year. But again, overall, I'm going to give this probably a 7 out of 10, and say maybe 7.5. I'm not sure. It is better than average. It's better than some of the movies I've seen on the higher budget range. So anyway, yeah, give it a shot. If you like action films, if you don't mind low budget, give it a shot. All right, it is 2 hours long. All right, it's not the an hour and a half in and out. But the fact that they got it done for that and didn't stick to an hour and a half is amazing as well. So, all right, remember to give me a like, give me a thumbs up if you can, and also, yeah, why don't you ring that bell, ding ding, and be a new supporter of the channel, and check out some. I put out videos almost every day, whether it's for comics or for film or etc. I kind of wanted to go to the movies this weekend, but we just completed the Green Hornet thing, and I just got back from Gamma, and so I wanted to relax this weekend, even though I did some work. All right, I will see you guys on the next episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. All right, bye-bye.